Some monsters were never meant to be slain, some were meant to be summoned. A single oil lamp burns low, and the shadows it throws seem to lean in toward the swollen belly of the mother. A woman lies in a dark room in ancient Babylon, hours from giving birth, listening to a night that feels alive. She is afraid, and her fear has a name that no one in the house will speak aloud after sunset. The midwife works in silence because she knows that noise and light are exactly what the hunting thing follows. Beyond the mud brick walls, something is moving through the marsh reeds, drawn across the dark toward the warm smell of new life. Outside, the wind shifts and a cold breath slides under the door as if something has paused to listen. It is not a thief, not a beast, not a fever, and yet it carries all three of those terrors folded inside it. It is a huntress, and she feeds on mothers in labor and the children they have not yet even held. She is the shadow that every parent in this land has been taught to fear since their own childhood. Tonight she has chosen this house, and every prayer this trembling family knows is already worthless against the thing outside. So they will do something that should be unthinkable in any sane religion. They will invite a demon into the room. They will hang a grinning monster on the wall above the bed and beg it to stay with them until dawn. The question pressing on this room is older than Babylon itself, and tonight it has only one terrible answer. Can a newborn child survive a goddess when the only guardian strong enough to help is a living plague? The huntress. Her name is Lamashtu, and she is not the kind of demon a priest can simply scold and send away. She is the daughter of Anu, the sky god, the towering king who rules above every other god there is. She was born in the heavens, then thrown down to the earth for a cruelty even the gods could not stomach. She falls from the sky, carrying her father's divine blood, and not a single drop of his mercy in her veins. Picture her now in the wild places, a body that refuses to settle into any single shape for long. She wears the head of a lion and the teeth of a long donkey, set in a face that never rests. She kneels in the reeds, suckling a hissing serpent at one breast and a filthy wild dog at the other. She does not eat the bread of the living. She hungers only for the warm breath of the newly born. When an infant dies in the night for no reason any healer can name, the people quietly know her work. When a mother burns with fever in the days after childbirth, they whisper that the huntress has touched her. For every house in Mesopotamia, she is the reason a cradle can be full one night and empty the next. Mothers carry the dread of her through every single pregnancy, counting the dangerous months like a prisoner counts days. She slips into the birthing rooms of Mesopotamia like a thread of smoke, and she takes whatever she came for. She has stalked these river valleys since before the first king, and no army of men has ever touched her. Against an ordinary spirit, the priests have spells and knotted wool and circles of salt that can hold the line. But Lamashtu is half divine, and divine blood only laughs at the little charms that frighten the lesser things. You cannot bribe her, you cannot bind her, and you cannot beg her father to call his cruel daughter home. So the family kneels through the slow hours, and they feel the room grow colder with every passing breath. Something has reached the threshold now, patient and certain, waiting only for the first thin cry of a child. Look, the king of the wind. So the people of Mesopotamia make a calculation that no comfortable, gentle religion would ever dare to allow. If a goddess cannot be stopped by anything good, then she must be stopped by something far worse. They do not go searching the heavens for a kinder angel. They go searching the storm for a stronger monster. And out in the howling dark above the southern deserts, one monster alone answers to the title of king. His name is Pazuzu, and he is everything this family should fear, gathered up and sharpened into a single shape. He is the son of Hampu, born out of the raging wind and raised in the wild country of storms. He rules the southwest wind, the burning breath of the desert that dries the rivers and murders the harvest. Where Pazuzu passes, the locusts rise and blacken the sky, and famine follows close behind him like a faithful hound. His face is part roaring lion and part snarling dog, locked forever in a furious, joyless grin. Two great pairs of wings rise from his back, scaled and wide enough to swallow a doorway whole. His feet end in the curved talons of an eagle, and his body trails away into the tail of a scorpion. He is built from every dangerous creature at once, a walking warning stitched together from flesh and bone and claw. To even look upon his carved image is to understand that mercy was never once part of his design. He is the patron of everything that withers, the lord of fever winds and the choking dust of high summer. Make no mistake about what this thing truly is. Pazuzu is no gentle protector hiding a soft heart of gold. He is a genuine terror in his own right, a bringer of plague and drought and slow, rotting fields. The Mesopotamians never once pretend otherwise, and that brutal honesty is the entire secret of their desperate plan. They do not soften this demon into a hero. They take him exactly as he is and aim him like a weapon. And yet this is precisely the creature that the desperate parents of Babylon will choose to welcome inside. For in a world of cruel powers, safety never comes from kindness. It comes from finding the stronger fist. Because there is a law far older than any human king, written deep into the bones of the spirit world. In that unseen order of things, rank is everything, and a lesser power simply cannot defy a greater one above it. The spirit world runs on rank, the way a kingdom runs on its throne, and the throne of the winds is already taken. Lamashtu draws her own strength from the restless wind spirits that drift in the spaces between the living worlds. And every wind spirit, every howling gust that moves between heaven and earth, bows its head to one single master. A soldier does not argue with his general, and a wind spirit does not argue with its rightful king. Pazuzu is their king. He outranks the very forces that hand the huntress her terrible power in the first place. So when he finally speaks, she is not facing a frightened charm. She is standing before her own sovereign lord, the summoning. The priest steps into the birthing room with a small clay figure cooling and heavy in his careful hands. It is Pazuzu, shaped in miniature, his grinning face deliberately turned outward to stare into the waiting dark. He hangs the little monster on the wall above the bed, talons down, wings spread wide across the brick. Then he begins to read aloud the words that someone has carved directly into the demon's own scaled body. The inscription is written as though the monster himself is speaking it, a living voice pressed into the clay. "I am Pazuzu," the carved words declare, "the son of Hanpu, king of the evil wind demons of the world." This is no idle decoration scratched for beauty. The name is a key, and to speak it is to turn the lock. To say his full and proper title out loud is to summon his raw authority straight into the room. The little clay figure stops being mere clay. In that single instant, it becomes a throne fit for a king. The mother's breathing quickens, the moment of birth is near, and the threshold trembles with hungry anticipation. And out in the cold air gathered at the threshold, the huntress suddenly feels the whole world shift around her. She came tonight expecting a frightened family and a few useless little knots of wool tied across the door. Instead, she finds the southwest wind itself standing squarely in the doorway, planted between her and the child. This is the instant the amulet was made for, the reason its maker pressed the demon's own words into clay. Picture now the confrontation that the amulets remember, the scene carved again and again across 1,000 long years. Lamashtu lunges for the newborn, her jaws falling open, her stained hands reaching through the dark toward the cradle. And the king of the wind demons rises up between the huntress and the small, fragile, breathing child. The huntress and the demon king meet at last, two monsters locked in a war over one helpless newborn life. He does not plead with her, he does not bargain, he simply outranks her completely, and she knows it at once. His grin stretches wider, his wings beat down once, and a scorching desert wind roars through the small room. The huntress recoils, her stolen power draining away like cool water poured carelessly onto burning desert sand. She is a princess of the highest heaven, but here, tonight, in this room, she is only the lesser monster. For one held heartbeat, the whole invisible war hangs balanced over a single cradle in the dark. Inch by stubborn inch, the southwest wind drives her backward toward the very threshold she crept through. The amulets show her bound and beaten, her wrists tied tight, her snarling shape forced into a full retreat. They show her shoved down to the muddy riverbank, where a small dark boat sits waiting among the reeds. She is loaded aboard like cargo bound for the underworld, and the slow current takes her out into the dark. The river carries the huntress back down to the silent country below the earth, the place where she belongs. And then the wind dies away, the room goes utterly quiet. The threshold stands empty and harmless at last. In the gray stillness before dawn, a newborn finally cries, and for once that thin cry means nothing but life. The mother holds a living child that the long night tried so hard to take and never once could reach. The lamp steadies. The shadows pull back into the corners where they belong, defeated and ordinary again. The father exhales a long breath he did not even know he had been holding through the whole endless night. The clay is cheap and the work is rough, but to this family it is worth more than a mountain of gold. Above the bed, the small clay monster keeps grinning down, talons lowered, wings still spread protectively wide. He will hang there on the wall for weeks, a tireless guard who never sleeps and never once blinks. This is the strange and chilling bargain lying at the very heart of an entire empire's deepest fear. The people of Mesopotamia did not banish evil from the nursery, they hired it and posted it at the door. They understood a hard truth that most comfortable faiths would much rather hide from their frightened children. Sometimes the only thing in the whole world that can stop a monster is a bigger monster that you control. No other god would ever stoop to guard a mortal infant, but this demon king does it gladly all night. And Pazuzu wore two faces for them, both of them at the very same time, one never seen without the other. Out in the wild, he was the merciless storm that crossed the mountains and emptied the farmers' ripening fields. Inside the home, he became the faithful watchman above the cradle, his fierce eyes turned out against the night. The same talons that scattered a whole season's harvest now shielded the smallest, softest life in the house. Across the empire, in countless rooms exactly like this one, the same little grinning guardians keep their long watch. For 3,000 long years, his grinning monstrous face guarded the children of the entire ancient world. Then his old name fell asleep, buried in the sand beside the great cities that once knew how to speak it. Archaeologists would later pull his image from the dirt at Ashur and Nimrud and the broken ruins of Babylon. Each tiny figure was once a shield, pressed into a parent's shaking hand against the worst thing they could imagine. Until a single modern film woke that name again and twisted nearly everything the ancient world had believed. In the new story, Pazuzu no longer guards a child at all. He invades one, and slowly he possesses her. The protector becomes the predator. The shield becomes the curse. The faithful guardian becomes the nightmare itself. The world had simply forgotten that this monster was first summoned to save the very thing it now haunts. But the old clay amulets still remember, dug up from the floors of homes that fiercely love their children. They go on grinning behind museum glass, talons down, waiting patiently for a threshold that never comes again. So return one final time to that dark Babylonian room and to the question that started this whole story. Can a newborn child survive a goddess when its only guardian is a living plague that has been handed a crown? In Babylon, the answer hangs quietly above the bed, scaled and snarling and faithful all the way to dawn. The innocent slept safe that night, not because evil had been defeated, but because evil had been made to serve. Myth wanderer, the old gods are still watching.